Okay, I'm responding to one of the comments that I got from one of my friends with this video. I'm obviously still on the 470. So after the gym, I've been really whooped. It's like 98 degrees right now, but I'm responding to a comment. They saw me do a 60 to 80 pull, I think is what I did, or something like that, in my review video. And they were like, hey, how about you do like a 0 to 60 or 0 to whatever acceleration. You know, I think that's a great idea. So that's what I'm going to do. This is kind of the lead up to it. I'm just going through the neighborhood where I normally do my run after the gym, but it's too freaking hot. I'm just wasted after a end of a long week. This is a Wednesday or Thursday, so I don't even know what day it is. So this is going to be kind of a short video, I think. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit after I do the pull. It's pretty windy, but I think we're going to be in a sheltered enough area so we don't skew the results too badly. So my plan is to reach this stop sign up here and just go for it. I'm going to get my visor down. So I'm not a drag racer, and one of the other things I'm going to try to do is to keep the front end down so I don't completely blow the... I'm going to go a little past this stop sign so I don't look like, you know, some sort of crazy guy. I'm over here by the pool. Alright, we got somebody over here. So I'm not trying to freak anybody out or anything, or that's the last thing I want to do. Hello. That's pretty cool. It looked like he was wearing a Fox jersey. Okay, so this is slightly downhill. Okay, so we're going to just do a quick acceleration here. All right, I'm at a stop. Ready? Here we go. There's 80. There's 90. That's a 90-mile-an-hour pull on a DRZ 470 stroker. So obviously, if I was going to do something like that, I wouldn't do that on a bike that wasn't warmed up or jetted improperly, because that's asking for it to blow up. I don't think that was that bad of a pull. It's actually quite nice. So my question is, what do you think? Talk to me in the comments. Let's discuss this. Now again, I want to reaffirm the person or peoples that watch these videos. My build is conservative. I'm a conservative, and I wanted something that I don't have to try to say, well, am I on the edge? Am I on the edge of being able to not run race gas and prevent pre-detonation? I don't know, maybe should I have went ahead and put that other layer of the base gasket on my jug? Because this is the crap that I read on thumper talk. This is the crap that I see people. I took one of the base gaskets off. I did this. Why? Are you making a race bike? I understand if you're making a race bike, that's a whole different thing. That's a whole different thing. But my concept is to have a DRZ that has a decent amount of power that'll last me a while. This isn't my normal route. Make a decent amount of upgraded power, and can you replace the valve springs and valves or do all this stuff? Absolutely. It's your bike. You can do what you want to do with it. But I've got valves that are factory. I don't have a different CDI. I'm trying to stretch out the rev range of this. It doesn't matter to me. Man, this bike feels good. The other thing is if you have one of these, you need to address your suspension. These tar snakes don't feel good. These things, their rebound is in the front. The way they come, it's just egregious. I balanced mine out. Could I have resprung it and revalved it? Absolutely. It'd probably perform a lot better, but it's got plenty. It's not a race bike. Could it be a race bike? Sure. That's the you know, I got some input from somebody that saw my review video, and they said, hey, I saw that pull that you did. It'd be better if we had a 0-2 something. Well, there you have it. What else do I need to do? And I do want to try to do more wheelies and get a little better with wheelies. I've been practicing with my 2-stroke some. They're still bad. They're still bad. This bike, this engine's running clean, and that person about freaking swung out there and tried to take me out. I understand, you got to get to the Dollar General, get those deals. Okay, so what are some of the upcoming mods that I might be doing on this? I don't know. I was looking at some different things about crash protection potentially, which are kind of more stunt oriented parts. There's like a radiator protector. It looks like it'd be something that would protect the water pump in case a person went down. I do have a dirt set on this for this, and I do. My plan is to put that on in the fall, later fall, and maybe for winter. So maybe I might think about some heated grips potentially. A buddy of mine showed me that there was a on-off switch that he was installed in his S model. It's a S model. So he could just turn his fan on. I thought that was pretty rad. I suggested that, good grief, you're gonna park it in the corner? 20 miles an hour? I bet you I can hit over 50 in this bike, even with the air pressure that I have these tires set on. But I did suggest to him to do the free power mod. If you got a DRZ, you should consider, again, it's your bike, do what you want with your bike. The free power mod, because really the charging system after your stator runs and converts your AC to DC current with your rectifier, your power wire and your ground wire go through the entire wiring harness, which adds resistance. Resistance is not good for your rectifier. It's not good for your stator. And it's really not that good for your battery, because instead of getting about 14.5 volts, you're getting like 13.5 or 13, under 14. So look into doing the free power mod. And if you do it, I might have to do a video on that. I might have to do a video on that so I can explain how to do that. But it's a pretty simple procedure, and there's other videos by people that edit their videos. I'm not a video editing person very much. Oh, some other chat. I got on to Thumper Talk today and was responding to some people that said something about, oh, I think I screwed up. They had a DRZ that, I don't know if it's like an 18 or 19 with 1,800 miles. And this bike, he said, I did a hard break-in. I did a hard break-in, then an oil change. Then on his initial oil change, I think other than that, if I read it right, people's grammar is terrible when they write. I try to write better than I talk, which, if you paid any attention to on my video or how I blab, it's terrible. I say so and cuz and all that. However, the guy was saying that he did a hard break-in, and then this other oil change, and when he checked his oil wasn't on this dipstick. And I chimed in with the hard break-in myth. And if you look back in the Motorcyclist magazine, when Ari Henning was still doing things for them, he did a video, and if you know Ari Henning or you pay attention to him, his thing was these, and still is, these CBR 250s. And so he rebuilt two CBR 250s, and he did a hard break-in on one and then a typical break-in on another one. I think it was like 1,000 miles of just thrashing it, and 1,000 miles, if it was that, of just going easy and breaking it in like you're supposed to. Like a good sane and sober human being. He didn't make a big deal out of it, but when he tore the engines back apart, the ring gap on the hard break-in engine was wider than that of the recommended break-in engine. It wasn't by much. It wasn't by much, but it was by enough, I think, that over the life of an engine that should last thousands and thousands of miles, it didn't. It won't. It will wear out and you'll start smoking, and because you're burning oil. Anyway, this guy said he was lost basically a quart of oil. He was down to a quart of oil. He was down to a quart of oil when he changed it, or he changed his oil. One, he was dumb because he didn't check his oil regularly. Two, the misconception of the hard break-in. Well, if you go and thrash a bike like this bike, if I was like, man, I want to see how much power this 470's got right out of the gate, instead of breaking it in, my break-in was about a 30-minute ride, and I split it up into two sections. Okay, I did get a little heat cycling, and I didn't count it as fully broke in, but that was the break-in ride. I determined whether or not there was any oil leaks or any of that stuff. Had to do a wheelie for the guy. He was kind of staring me down. And I did that on Nathan's bike. And I did that on my bike, in that order. And it felt good. It felt real good to do it that way. We broke in the new crank bearings, the crank, which isn't as big of a deal as the cylinder and piston. These two surfaces needed to be married together. Somewhere, WEAR happens as associated with that piston with its rings gapped at a certain ring gap, which I had to remove a lot of material on the rings, on both the compression rings. The oil rings were within spec of installation. That's spec of installation. They're spec of, like, if you tear it apart with it, if it being within spec for a good running spec. And that's my point. If you go and thrash a bike, your rings are going to wear out before their time because they're going to wear too much too soon. They need to wear a little bit because that coated cylinder, that Nicosil, wins. It's really hard stuff, and it wins versus that steel. I don't care if it's chrome moly or what it is. So that's my spiel on hard break-in. So I chimed in on it to them, and there's been so many comments like, hard break-in, you don't do anything, you don't know what you're talking about, do we? Okay. And even someone that I trust and respect a great deal, especially with DRZs, he made a statement about, well, in one of the videos that was posted, he has his opinion on hard break-in, and it differs from that of mine. Jake, if you ever see this, I still respect you, but I differ somewhat, and I'm not a real mechanic. I just play one on Instagram and YouTube. But I have a feeling that sorry, I got to do driving stuff. Nice gentle accelerations and loading on the power side of the detonation, the power stroke, and on the back side or on a similar side, having some nice engine braking when you release off the throttle. Those are good ways of breaking in an engine. Going out here and going 65 miles an hour right out of the gate probably isn't that great of an idea on a brand new engine, or just rev bombing the piss out of it, or going and doing a burnout or this or that. Yeah, the engine still runs, but there's a lot of room for error, I think, in those schools of thought. So I think it would be great if somebody would put in the time and build two different engines. It's not going to be me, folks. And measure all those things so many miles in, so many kilometers in for the metric people, and see how that treats them as far as engine longevity. Because once you outreach the ring's life, and if you do so prematurely, it's going to start wearing on your cylinder, and that means no good mojo. So anyway, I'm going to end it there, and hopefully we'll see you next time.